If you clicked because you want the shortest path to straight A's, stay locked for the next 10 minutes. What you're about to hear is peer-reviewed, battle-tested, and cuts study time in half. Every semester, millions of students start with color-coded timetables and end with C's, not from lack of effort, but from violating 5 immutable laws of learning. We are going to hand you those 5 laws in the exact order you should apply them, starting right now. Law 1. Parkinson's Law of Time Elasticity. Work swells to fill every minute you allow it, so a chapter that objectively needs 45 minutes will gorge on 6 hours if you gift it a full afternoon. The fix is surgical. Pre-decide a hard, almost uncomfortable deadline. Tomorrow's microeconomics summary must be closed by 10:45 a.m. Phone on airplane mode. Research from the University of Michigan shows students who cap assignments at 2 focused hours score 29% higher than peers who allow open-ended sessions. The constraint forces the brain to filter low-value activities automatically. Your move is simple. Open your calendar, drag the next task into the smallest box that still looks possible, subtract 5 extra minutes, hit save. Whatever lives inside that box now has legal permission to demand your full intensity, and when the clock hits 0, you stop, review, and reset. No extensions unless fire alarms sound. Law 2. Active recall beats recognition every single time. Reading the same page 3 times feels fluent, but fluency is the enemy of memory. Real learning happens when you wrench the answer from blank space. One Columbia meta-analysis compared passive rereading with self-quizzing. The latter delivered letter grade jumps with 30% less total investment. Convert every headline in your notes into a question: why does supply slope upwards? Then answer aloud with the book closed. If you stall, peek once, rephrase, and retest. Past papers, end-of-chapter drills, flashcards flipped to the question side all count, but the rule is no recognition clues allowed. Either the fact exits your neuron voluntarily or it does not. Schedule these retrieval bouts inside the time boxes you built in Law 1 and you have engineered a productivity flywheel. Tight clock, high output effort, instant feedback loop. Law 3. Spaced repetition rides the forgetting curve. Hermann Ebbinghaus proved memories decay exponentially. You can outsmart decay by reintroducing the material the moment forgetting is about to occur, stretching intervals from 1 day to 3, then 7, then 14. Digital tools make this automatic, but a paper calendar works too. Just plot micro-quizzes on day 1, day 3, day 7, and watch retention jump to 90% versus 20% from single-session cramming. Couple spacing with active recall, and every succeeding session feels easier, freeing clock space for newer material. Ignore spacing, and even the best recall session evaporates within a week, sending you back to square one. Think of it as compound interest. The earlier you deposit, the more cognitive dividends you collect at exam time. Law 4. Deep work protocol shields the brain from attention residue. Cal Newport's research shows a single glance at a notification can pollute focus for up to 20 minutes. Multiply that by the average student's hourly phone checks, and half your study block is forfeited before you begin. Countermeasure: create a fortress of concentration, silence everything with a screen, dump social apps in another room, and work in 45-minute atomic blocks with a visible countdown. When the urge to wander hits, and it will, scribble the impulse on a sticky note, promise your brain it will be processed during the break, and immediately return to the task. This act lowers limbic panic without breaking the cognitive flow. 2 of these focus blocks beat 6 hours of fragmented effort, protect sleep, and still leave your evening free because the mission was completed before dinner. Law 5. Goal crystallization gives the previous 4 laws a target. Vague objectives like do well activate no neuromotor loop. State instead, score greater than or equal to 90% on organic chem midterm in 27 days by daily 7 to 8 a.m. active recall blocks covering 2 mechanisms per session. Neuroscience calls this implementation intention. It slashes procrastination by 80% because the prefrontal cortex no longer wastes glucose deciding when and what to says, deciding when, where, and what to says, deciding when, where, and what to says. Write the goal on paper. Reverse engineer weekly milestones, then daily microtasks. Each finished microtask delivers a dopamine spike that propels the next, turning discipline into a self-rewarding loop. Without clarity, the system stalls, perfect time boxes stay empty, flashcards remain unopened, and deep work has no finish line to chase. Those are the 5 evidence-based laws: constrain time, test actively, space reviews, defend attention, and define the finish line. Implement them sequentially, and your next study cycle becomes a high-yield factory. Ignore anyone, and the chain snaps. Ready to see them in action? Grab the next assignment, open your calendar, and lock in Law 1, because from this minute forward, grades are a choice, not a gamble. Law 1 in motion looks like this. Open your calendar, click the next empty slot, type Microeconomics Summary 8 to 8:45 and hit save before your brain can negotiate. 45 minutes later, the alarm fires. You close the book even if mid-sentence. That abrupt stop feels wrong the first day. Your amygdala screams, "We're not finished." But the discomfort is the compression force that flushes waste. Repeat for 3 sessions and you will notice a new metabolic pace. Key ideas surface faster, fluff is auto-filtered, and the chapter collapses into 1 page of self-test questions you can answer cold. Internal clock calibrated, you now layer Law 2. Law 2 execution checklist. Convert every heading into a question. Shut the book. Recite the answer. Mark green if fluent, red if stalled. Red questions go into a strike-back pile reviewed in the next 24-hour cycle. Green questions reappear on day 3 under Law 3. A single A4 sheet can hold 30 questions. Photograph it, print a pocket version, and you carry the exam in your sleeve. Average time to create 30 questions, 18 focused minutes, time you would have wasted rereading the same paragraph 4 times. Students who hit 80% accuracy on these self-quizzes average 1 full letter grade higher on the final. The correlation is linear, no outliers, no magic. Law 3 spacing grid. After the first successful recall, draw 3 tiny boxes beside the question tomorrow plus 3 days plus 7 days. Tick each box only when you can answer unaided. Miss once and the clock resets to box 1. Digital users can export the strike-back pile to Anki or Remnote with 1 click. Paper users keep a second sheet taped above the desk so the interval stares at you every morning. Total extra labor under 2 minutes per week. Payoff: 90% retention at 4 weeks versus 20% for the single cram cohort. Combine with Law 2 and you have a self-running engine. Questions become easier each cycle, freeing fresh minutes for new content or rest. Law 4 Fortress routine. Night before, place phone on airplane mode. Tuck it in a drawer 2 rooms away. Set a physical kitchen timer for 45 minutes and place it on the desk so the red dial is visible. This externalizes the countdown and removes the need to check a screen. Keep a distraction capture sticky pad. When the brain whispers email group partner, jot 1 keyword, stick it aside, return to the textbook. After 3 sessions, you will notice the impulse frequency drops. The prefrontal cortex learns that distraction is parked, not forgotten, and ceases to interrupt. Protect the protocol for 1 week and the default state becomes concentration. Notifications feel like rude intrusions rather than rewards. Law 5 Reverse Engineering Template. Write the exam date, subtract 1 day for buffer, draw weekly milestones backward on a wall calendar. Each milestone is measurable. Chapters 1 to 3 question bank greater than or equal to 85% green. Every Sunday night, spend 10 minutes auditing the past week. If the metric is met, color the square green and preload the next microtasks. If red, diagnose which law failed. Time box too loose, skipped active recall, spaced interval drifted, or deep work breached. Adjust 1 variable only. Systems fail when you overhaul everything at once. Keep the sheet visible above the bed, so the goal is the last image before sleep and the first on waking. Constant exposure recruits the reticular activating system to spot course-relevant material automatically. Integration example: 7 a.m. alarm, phone stays in kitchen, brush teeth, boil water, sit at desk 7:10. Timer 45 minutes, answer 20 strike-back questions from yesterday. Law 2 and 3, close sheet, immediate self-grade. 7:55 break, stretch, refill coffee, glance at sticky notes, ignore phone. 8 o'clock second block, create 20 new questions on today's lecture. Law 2, finish 8:45. Calendar reminder 8:50 p.m. Upload photos of sheets to cloud. Schedule tomorrow's 7 a.m. review. Weekly audit Sunday 9 p.m. Green rate 87%. Keep interval length. If below 80%, tighten time box to 40 minutes and add one extra cycle. Repeat until exam. Average daily commitment 90 minutes. No all-nighters required. Common failure points. Soft deadlines. I'll stop when I feel done. Kill Law 1. Fix is to set the timer before opening the book. Highlighting while reading feels safe but bypasses active recall. Cure is to read once, close, then create questions. Spacing collapse happens when you wait for a free hour. Instead, chain the review to an existing habit, morning coffee or lunch. Focus leaks begin with just one message. The antidote is the two-room phone rule. Friction beats willpower. Vague goals like study more derail Law 5, convert to greater than or equal to 90% on next quiz in 11 days, and write it in pen on the wall chart. Measurement Toolkit, free Google Sheets template, columns date, time box length, questions created, red-green ratio, interval box ticked, deep work interruptions, cumulative minutes. Enter numbers during the 5-minute nightly shutdown. Conditional formatting turns the row green when all 5 laws are satisfied that day. After 14 days, the sheet graphs a retention curve. When the curve flat tons above 85% at 4 weeks, you have empirical proof the system is working, confidence skyrockets, and motivation becomes self-sustaining. If you started this video drowning in open-ended study guilt, you now own a 5-law operating system validated by cognitive psychology and field, tested by straight-A cohorts. The only variable left is your next move. Open the calendar. Create one 45-minute box for tomorrow morning, title it Law 1 to 2 Drill, and hit save, because the semester is not waiting and neither should you.